Hey guys. So real excited to bring you this one. I read this trilogy with Scott from Book Invasion, his channel. I'll link it down below. We did some conversation on his Discord. I think most people read Wool, which is the first in the Silo trilogy. And then by the time we read Shift, there weren't as many people still reading with us. And then by the time we got to Dust, I think there was just three of us that finished the series together. But clearly Wool is the best, is very, very, very good. And then Shift kind of prequel-ish, and then this ties it all together. So I'll give a better description of it here in just a second for you. But wanted to let you know it is a trilogy. It is pretty good. You can get through them in a reasonable amount of time. They're fairly fast-paced. Well, at least this one is pretty fast-paced. This one does slow down a little bit. It really does 90% of the world building here. If you wanted to, let's say you read Wool, and I'll give you the synopsis, but basically they're in a silo, a giant silo, and you're like, where did the silo come from? What's going on with it? How does it happen? Boom. And then you want to know what happened to the people who in the second book did some stuff, and you want to know what happened to Juliet from the first book. Boom. So that's kind of the thought process there. Hopefully I didn't have this book in front of the microphone too much and you can hear that pretty well. So I'll start with Wool itself. This, from the back cover, it'll tell you this is Juliet's story, but we don't meet Juliet in the first part of the story. From what I can tell, I've been interacting with Hugh Howey for a little while now, through the self-published science fiction competition. I'd heard that this book was fantastic, and that the other two books were good, but not nearly as good as the first one. And I can agree. If this was a clear 5-star, the rest are 4 stars at best. But it's really nice to see how the story ends, and it's really nice to see how the twists and turns and the world building that he created. I really appreciate it, and I enjoyed it. Listened to them all on audiobook. They were all done very well. And then, just followed along in my physical copies. Found all these, they're not the same size, but I found them all at used bookstores. And that's really what I'd been waiting on. I wanted the full trilogy before I started reading them. But then when the self-published science fiction competition came around, I wanted to get to know him better. And I went out and I bought the last one, I believe. Still from used bookstore. I just went to thrift books. It's kind of if I need it now, I go to thrift books, and makes me feel good about not spending a ton of money. So, to actually tell you about the book. So, like I said, it's Juliet's story, but we start and you meet a sheriff. He lives near the top of the silo, and you can just tell that he's unhappy. He wants to go outside. His wife is gone. He wants to go outside. And from context clues, you pick up that going outside is basically banishment. And really, you get to meet the mayor. You get to meet most of the main characters before you meet Juliet, who's our main character. And I think that's really interesting. It's a neat take on it. How people, from what I have heard, he published most of this book in short stories, and then the short stories were all compiled in this version here. And those were all self-published. Some of them had some really cool covers. I might pull up a few of them. Like kind of nuclear looking suit and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And then when you get to meet Juliet, she's kind of the reluctant sheriff. And she starts to investigate what was happening with the sheriff. So you're learning with her, which is nice because it doesn't just, throw all the facts at you. We and us as readers and Juliet are figuring out what was going on. Why did he make this decision? What was he going through? What was his life at the time? We learn about the silo because she is from the down deep, and then she has to come to the up top. Really interesting, just the entire way that this was designed and created. And cool thing, I just saw on Twitter the other day that they're gonna start filming on Apple TV. So this is gonna be a series on Apple TV. Rebecca Ferguson is gonna play Juliet. If you don't know her, she's in Dune. And I think it's going to be a really interesting show. I think the ambiance of the silo and what they do there is going to be really, really cool. So as we finish talking about Wool, I don't want to give you any more spoilers, because really that's all I knew about it from the back cover. I knew it was a silo. I knew there was a mystery in it, sort of. So then when we go to Shift is the beginning of the silo, and then about 100 years into the silo, we follow two people. And we don't know much about the second person, but we do know Donald. Donald is a brand new senator from Georgia. And we learn that he is tasked with a project to build something in case. They're creating a nuclear storage facility right outside of Atlanta. And this nuclear storage facility needs to have a contingency in case something really bad happens. So they are creating these silos that were based on a college project that he did. And the silos that they're building, he takes over for them. He kind of runs point. He doesn't know a lot of the facts, but as a new senator, or new congressman, I'm sorry, I said senator, he's a congressman. So he's just trying to do his best for some of the senior congressmen, and he's, taking his project and he's adapting it, finding ways that it would have worked in the real world compared to just his study on paper, going down, helping, overseeing some of it. He meets one of his ex-girlfriends who he's currently married, or newly married to a wife he adores. But he's forced to work with one of his exes, like a long-term ex, like they were together for 4 or 5 years, maybe even engaged, who's the daughter of the congressman that he's working for. So a little bit of stress, a little bit of drama there. He's trying to reassure his wife that nothing's going on, while also working on this project where he doesn't have all the facts. And then after the first part, I would call it, we shift to that other guy. So he's in the silo. He's a manager of the silo who has woken up from cryo sleep. It's a completely different silo from what we saw in Wool and Juliet's silo. It's more technologically advanced. Appears to be in the past as well, because some of the things that we knew happened in this book hadn't happened yet. So I'll definitely tell you, this is everything here is before everything here. So when you learn about that, so don't think that you're spoiling this by reading this. I mean, you could read it first if that you wanted to read in chronological order, I guess, maybe. But I would suggest read Wool first. It gives you a better idea of Hugh Howey's writing and what he's trying to do. And then Dust, like I said, kind of ties it all together. It's your finale. You learn about Donald's story. You learn about the other man. You learn about Juliet, and you know exactly what happened to Holston. There's also an IT guy who's kind of your bad guy, Bernard. You learn about what goes on with him. Actually, you're kind of done with Bernard and Wool, but you learn more about Bernard here in Dust. And then there's a big bad guy that you see the end of here when they get done. It's very, very interesting. His take on what might be is really, really cool. And I suggest you read it, personally. I enjoyed them. I flew through them. I read all three in 3 months. The only reason I didn't read them faster is because it was a read-along, and we were supposed to start in the time frame. If I read them back to back to back, I probably could have got them done in a month and a half. They're that easy of a read. They really are. There's no. It's not complicated scientifically. It's not complicated. It's sci-fi, definitely, but it's not. It's your near future sci-fi, if that makes sense. Near future apocalyptic sci-fi. And I quite enjoyed it. I suggest it to you. I think you would enjoy it, and I liked it quite a bit. So I will sign off here. If you want to go check out Scott's channel, please do. He's a great booktuber. One of the first booktubers that ever reached out to me, kind of said, "Hey, you're brand new here. I'm so excited to have you join us in this booktube journey." And so everything I can do to thank him for that, I really will, and I appreciate it. So I will sign off here and see ya. Bye.